Good morning, everybody. This morning we are going to discuss hand pollinating squash. It's actually pretty simple. Fonzie agrees. All right, first thing you want to do is identify your two flowers. These are your male flowers. They're easily identifiable. They have long stems, no fruit. These are your females. Short stems with fruit. This one's not open yet, so I cannot pollinate that one yet. However, over here, we do have one I can pollinate. Right there. Open flower, female fruit. Now what I like to do is take a male flower that has a long stem, and pinch that off. I am actually missing a tool this morning. Can't seem to find it. Hang on, let me see if I can set this up. I can use two hands. Oh, come on. Thank you, little tripod. Okay. There we go. Long stem, male flower. Apologize, that took a minute. Okay. And this is the reason why I like to get a long stem. It's because I like to use this like a paintbrush. I pinch it off the stem from the cup, and then I open this part here of the flower and I peel it back, leaving as much of the pollen in the flower that I can. Sometimes it's way down inside the cup. Sometimes it's only on this part here, right there. But if you look, let's see if we can see this. Try to zoom in a little bit. If you look down inside, there we go. You might be able to actually see the pollen. I cannot seem to get this to focus. Next, take our little skinny paintbrush and we get as much of the pollen as we can. Sorry, make sure you can actually see what I'm doing here. Get as much of the pollen as you can, and if you can see on the stem, there's actually little tiny thorns. They're not painful or anything. But you can get the pollen on your stem, and then you paint the pollen inside the female flower. It's actually pretty simple. Sounds like I have a crow behind me somewhere. All right. Next, you locate your female flower, which again is right here, and you just paint this part of the female, putting the pollen everywhere you can. Let's see if we can zoom that in a little bit. The other thing that you can do is actually take this here and use that as a paintbrush. Although I find that that middle part is a little bit fragile and sometimes breaks off, but you can actually just use that to put the pollen inside the flower. And I am not showing you anything. Let me move the camera. Just like that. Sometimes you might want to take more than one, just to make sure you really get the pollen in there so that your squash can get fertilized. Now, I said fertilized. Sorry guys, I meant pollinated. I meant pollinated. Let's see. There we go. I meant pollinated. Okay, so I actually pollinated those two other squash right there yesterday, and you can see that those flowers have closed up, and this one here is actually already increased in size a little bit. And you can see the difference here between the little one that I just hand pollinated and this one that's right next to it is growing, and the one behind it is growing. And that is how you know you've actually pollinated those. This one here has not been pollinated. It's shrinking, it's getting smaller, it looks like it's getting dehydrated. That one has not been pollinated, and unfortunately I will lose that fruit. But these three all now have been hand pollinated and will produce fruit. These squash plants that we're looking at right here, these are all what are called lemonhead squash, and I absolutely love these plants. They produce quite a bit of squash. I mean, if you look here, you can see females here, females there. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. Females here, females here, male flowers there. They're just male flowers there. They just produce a whole lot of squash. And if you're after getting a lot of yellow squash, this is definitely a plant for that. You can collect these when they're small. You can collect these when they're big. This one here, I will probably collect today. That one there, I will probably collect today. This one here, it will probably be another day or two that I will collect. But these produce absolutely tons of squash. Now let's compare this to, say, a zucchini. This zucchini plant I planted at the exact same time I did these lemon heads. And I think the lemon heads are just beautiful personally. But anyway, that's beside the point. I have not gotten one zucchini yet. This will be the first one I get to collect. This one here did not get pollinated. It's shrinking. This one here I pollinated yesterday. But if you look at this, there are not too many female flowers. There's one there. There's one behind it. There are not too many male flowers. Maybe 3 or 4. And the problem with these plants is on occasion you will have females open and no males, or males open and no females. It's kind of hit or miss. Whereas these, there are always males and there are always females, and plenty to do what you need to with. Let's compare this to a long yellow squash plant. Again, planted this at the exact same time I did the lemon heads that are back over there. Let's see. And you can see how much bigger those plants are compared to this one. I have collected one yellow squash off of this so far. That one looks like I did pollinate it, but if you look, there are no females right now to pollinate, and I've got one male flower. That one's coming on, but mostly, yeah, nothing, hardly anything at all. I have succession planted, so here's one coming up here, there's one coming up there, here's one coming up here. I actually planted here and here as well. Nothing, they're not coming up. But these lemon heads, every single one of them came up, and every single one of them is producing. You can actually trellis these, which I am considering doing, putting them on T-post, mainly to keep my chickens from eating my squash, because they've been in here and decided they like squash too, which is a little frustrating, but that's okay. I'll get enough of these that I can share with them, and it's not too bad. But anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully you understood the instructions. Hopefully the video was clear enough that you could actually see what I was talking about. If not, I suppose I can always reshoot it. Let me think. Anything else you need to know? Okay, yeah, okay. So sometimes people think that their squash has powdery mildew. I'm not sure exactly why they think that. Usually if they look at the pictures, they can see the variety has white on the leaves, and that's just kind of natural. But this is not powdery mildew. This is just a pattern that's on the leaf. They start out without it, and then as the leaf matures, they get these little, I don't know, these little white spots all on the edges. But it's not powdery mildew. It's just the way they look. Not all of them do that, but I kind of think it's pretty, so whatever. Okay, I guess that's it for the squash today. I hope y'all have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video.